Hello, hello, welcome. I am so grateful you are here today. Whether you're listening at home, at work, or on the go, I am so thankful you are here to have this conversation with me. And it is so hard for me to believe that we are already into the month of May. Almost halfway through the year, we're about to kick off summer with Memorial Day. A lot of changes with the school year. We've got teacher appreciation weeks. Graduations are happening. Whether you've got friends and family going through that, it could be college, it could be high school. There's middle school, elementary. For me, it means we have a kindergarten graduation happening, which is so hard for me to believe that my baby girl is about to be done and move on into true elementary school. So a lot of change there. We've got Mother's Day happening this month, which is very special. Just lots of activities. Spring sports are coming to a close, but then summer sports are going to kick off. So it seems like there's always something busy, always something going on, which can make for very stressful days. But as you know, what we're focused on this year is having a truly happy year by the time we're done, not just the happy new year in the beginning, but what are we doing every day, every week, every month to take those small baby steps and choosing joy, taking care of ourselves emotionally, physically, so that every month becomes better than the month before. So that by the time we get to the end of the year, it truly is a happy year that we designed, we controlled. Not that we control our circumstances, right? But we definitely control our thoughts. We can control our actions and our reactions to different things. And so all of that can help us truly have a happy year. And I'm just happy that we have a fifth month of the year now that we can continue on this journey. And I hope you're doing that with me. I hope you're doing things along with me there. So last month, we talked about some different core values that can really help us as we self-reflect and think about what it is we need in our lives and what we thrive on. And I wanted to take time today because May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. And I want to focus on how do you really take care of your whole well-being. And mental health obviously is a big piece of that. It controls our thoughts. It controls how we interact with others, the decisions that we make, just behavior in general. And, we can have a lot of stress in our lives. We can feel very overwhelmed. We can be pulled in several different directions any given day. And that can create a lot of anxiety. And in my full-time job, I hear a lot of, well, anxiety is just the new normal. If you're going to, be working, if you're going to have friends and family and different activities and things, you're just going to be stressed. And that's just part of it. You have to accept it. I don't disagree that you have to accept that change is happening and stress is happening. But I don't know that the anxiety has to be a new normal or that we should even allow that to be a new normal. So I wanted to really focus our time on how do we protect our well-being and how do we make sure we are healthily working through those feelings of stress and anxiety. And in doing that, I came across an article that Marlene Chisholm wrote for the Smart Brief on Leadership section that I do a lot of article reading out there. But I found one of her articles and she talks through 4 strategies of how to truly work through those anxious moments and not allow anxiety to overwhelm us and not let that just take over our lives to where it could physically, emotionally, and mentally be a detriment to us. So grab pen and paper. I'm going to talk through these 4 strategies. And of course, if you're driving, don't do that right now. Come back later when you can write something down and then work through it that way. But strategy number 1 that she talks about, she calls it the number line. And so what it says is consider the possibility that if you feel anxious, you may be way too far in the future mentally. And when you feel regret, then you're living in the past. So how do you take control of this? Am I too forward looking or am I, too past looking? She says, take control of it by using the number line technique. And here's what that is. Visualize a number line starting at -10 and going to +10. The middle being 0, which represents right now, present moment, current time. The farther to the left you go, which means the farther to the -10, you're living in the past. But the farther to the right you go, which is towards the +10, the more you're looking to the future, and that's where your worry comes from. So both far left and far right is causing anxiety and can cause those negative feelings. So a strategy she's saying here is track those feelings, whether it's anxiety, fear, regret. Once you notice the feeling, determine where on that number line you are. So for example, she says a +8 means you're way thinking in the future. That's where your worry is lying because you're thinking about something that might happen or a what if type thing. And so bring yourself, like your thought process, bring it back to 0. Be in the moment. And so aim to stay between that -2 and +2. So you can reflect on something that has happened, whether it's recent or not. But the -2 allows you to go a little bit back, but not too far. And if you don't go past the +2, then you're not going too far in the future and getting too caught up in worries in a what if scenario that can really drag you into a worrisome state. So that's number one, use that number line. Strategy number 2 is known as a thank you for sharing. So when you're feeling that you can't get anything right, it's likely due to negative self-talk that is also known as what she calls the monkey mind. Most of us beat ourselves up on a daily basis. And she says here that the monkey mind is a mismanaged narrative that has you believing that you don't have the smarts, the skills, whatever it is, you're not good enough to keep up with whatever that changes is in your life or whatever activities, all the stress, the busyness, that you're just getting farther and farther behind, and now you're about to have some big failure. So what she says is, well, she's learned is that the story you're telling yourself is the source of the suffering. So it's not whatever situation you're in, whatever change you're experiencing, or whatever busy, stressful activities, those things are going to happen. But it's that when the monkey mind comes into play and you have those thoughts, you're not aware that they're just thoughts and that it's not reality, right? Because you believe that this is in the moment and that this is, what reality is. And that's what allows you to become overly anxious or negative or even antisocial. So her application here says that when the worries come to the surface, just notice those and say to yourself, thanks for sharing. Pay attention to your actual conversations that you're having with other people, and you'll start to hear their concerns come out in those conversations as well as your own. And when you notice that quiet voice that's always in your mind, then you can shift the direction by acknowledging the narrative, the monkey mind, the negative narrative. Acknowledge that it's there and it exists, but then you don't give into it. You don't allow it to overtake your thoughts or your conversations or even your actions and behavior. You just note it. Thanks for sharing and move on. All right, strategy number 3, she calls cancel the need. So no matter what it is, change that's going on, and when we are feeling anxious or we're feeling overwhelmed or we're getting worked up, we're trying to control things that we can't control. I know I've been guilty of that, right? I want to have a certain plan, a certain timeline, a certain result, whatever it might be. And when things don't quite work out that way, yeah, I feel anxious and I feel stressed about that. But she continues to say, complaining about the rain never makes the sun come out. Complaining is only going to stress out yourself and other people as well. So conversations about how it shouldn't be raining right now is not productive. It does not help your well-being. It does not support positivity. So she's basically saying, right, don't do it. What if you didn't need things to be any different than they are? Like, what if you don't need to change? So in her words here, she says, simply cancel the need to change. So her application is when you find yourself trying to control the uncontrollable, simply say, I cancel the need to blank, and then you fill in that blank. So a couple of examples, she says, I canceled the need to control the speed of change, or I cancel the need for them to understand the decision I'm making. So when you let go of the burden of trying to change the things that can't be changed, then you're freeing your energy to focus on truly what is within your control and what you can change. So let go of what you can't control and embrace what you can, and then focus your energy there so you can actually own those actions and own that change and make things happen that is within your control. All right, the last strategy she talks about, strategy number 4, is called the magic phrase. Often the help and support we need from others never gets realized because of our own resistance to asking. How many of you do that? You're going through something and you just don't ask for help. You know someone who would be willing to have a conversation, whether it's a phone call, a text message, or something in person, but we don't want to bother them, or we already think we know what they're going to say, and we make assumptions, and so we just don't. And then we're left to deal with it all on our own, which is not healthy. And also she talks about sometimes we don't ask just so we can avoid the risk of rejection. And so one thing she says here that she calls the magic phrase is to use the words, would you be willing, before you start asking someone for help. So that allows you to test for someone else's agreement or test their resistance to what your request is. So you can start by asking yourself, am I willing to ask even if I already know what they would say? Maybe you will. And then you approach them with, would you be willing to have a cup of coffee and talk to me about a certain situation? So the goal's not to always get your way or to manipulate someone or to win, right? It's not some kind of competition. The goal is to strengthen your ability to ask and then see what happens. She goes on to say this method also reduces your anxiety because it strengthens your sense of self to accept when others say no. So rather than assuming they're going to say no, give them the chance to say no, but maybe they'll say yes as well. And so if you ask someone if they're willing to help you with something and they offer excuses and reasons that they can't, it means that they are in a state of resistance and that their real barrier is 3 layers deep. So if you use the phrase, would you be willing, typically the other person finds some kind of way to meet you halfway. But since there's no pressure, they can also say no without any risk. So it doesn't make really them uncomfortable. And yes, you aren't getting exactly what you wanted, but it at least allows you to understand where someone's at with being able to help you. Because, I mean, you don't want to ask for help if someone can't really help you. But anyway, those are 4 strategies that she talks about and the applications you can do. So strategy number 1, the number line. Strategy number 2, using the phrase, thank you for sharing, acknowledging when those thoughts occur. Number 3 is canceling the need. So stop trying to control what you can't control. And then number 4, the magic phrase of would you be willing? So at least putting yourself out there and asking someone for help instead of doing it all on your own. So those are the 4 strategies that I hope you will start working on. And my challenge to you this month is to journal and make sure you're implementing these strategies as you go through different situations. You know, that's been my ask for almost 2 years now, right? Is journal, journal, journal. You've heard me talk about the worry journal that I use as different things come up. It's jotted down, it's put aside, it's basically out of mind until I have my set day and time that I come back and I look through my worry journal, and then I start reviewing what was I concerned about. And by the time I get back to it at the end of the week, half of those worries, even sometimes three-quarters of those worries, have already solved themselves. And gosh, had I thought about them throughout the whole week and put my energy there and focused my attention on all of that, I would have not been productive for the week. And that's not how I create a happy year. So again, my challenge to you is just continue with the journaling, be honest with yourself, take that time to reflect, and then implement these 4 strategies as you encounter different situations that cause you stress and cause you anxiety and cause you to feel overwhelmed. So good luck with that. As always, drop me a note if you want to share any ideas or share something that you were able to find out about yourself or work through, or if you have questions, I'm happy to take those too. But hopefully this month is a fantastic end to your spring and a great kickoff to your summer. And if you do have graduations, oh goodness, good luck getting through emotionally. I know I'm going to be a basket case, but until I see you next time, take care and may God bless.